Jason was just going to go through some of the new things in Healy and like with the device and devices and with the business. And then I know, Brooke, you're very new, so I hope this is not too overwhelming with all the new information, but yeah, you will get a chance to ask any questions at the end if you have any.
Cool.
Thanks, Jason.
All right, let's get started.
Yeah.
Excellent. And just quickly, Dawn, just to touch on that, you can find out inside the Resonance app what you've got, what's available, by simply opening that up, and you'll see whether you have the coach in there, and the coach can just be purchased as an individual program. And so that's something that's important to know is possible as well.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. First of all, thanks everyone for being here. It's great to have you on the call, and I'm really excited to share what is happening with Healy. Now, what I really wanted to share, I guess, is some of the basics with the back office, and to help you guys understand how to really benefit from what's available in Healy right now. When Linda and I joined, 3 years ago, there weren't the tools that we have available now, and it's really beneficial for us because when we first started, I'm a very kind of engineering mind, and when people said, look, there's this Healy device and it's got a quantum sensor, and the quantum sensor will analyze what's going on inside of your body. I'm like, how does it do that? You can't just say that it does that, full stop. Like, I need to understand, and I needed to understand this kind of tech. And I am passionate about vibration frequencies and technology that works with that, because ultimately I believe that we are frequency, and when you look at the presentation that the Healy's created, when you move beyond this flesh body, and we get beyond the organs, and we start moving into the cells, and then what are the cells made up of? They're made up of molecules. What are the molecules made up of? Well, they're made up of these atoms, and then you get subatomic particles. And when you break it all down, really what it is frequency, vibration, and energy, right? And this is that famous Nikola Tesla quote of, when you start to understand the basis of everything, it all comes down to frequency, vibration, and energy. And in the scientific field, they call this the information field, right? Because it carries this energy, this frequency carries information. Just like my voice right now, it's a frequency and it's got a vibration to it, and it's carrying information that you then can assimilate and take in. And just like that, we are frequencies and we can vibrate. Oh, there's a ghost in the room. It's just opened up the door behind me. And it's really important to understand that our frequency is really everything. And we're understanding this more and more when, we do Joe Dispenza work or something like that. And we really get to understand that the way that we carry our frequency, the way that we carry our body, helps to create our body, right? There is this epigenetics, there is this feedback loop of my energy is then supporting how my body is being created moving forwards. And this little device helps us to come back to what's called homeostasis. Okay, so very important to understand that the Healy does not cure, does not mitigate, does not diagnose any disease of any kind. What it does is it supports our body to come back to its natural state, which is healthy. Our natural state is healthy. It is strong. It is clear. And it is this dynamic environment. And one of my favorite quotes in the world is by Rumi. And he speaks about how our task is not to seek for love, but to seek and find all the barriers that we have that prevent us from being love. And when I tune into that ultimate information field of humans and the whole world, love is the essence of all of it. But then we create these constructs, we create these stories of what it's supposed to be. We create, you know, these ideas of, I need to be like this to receive love, and we need to act in a certain way to be successful in the world, and things like that. So it's almost like we radiate love, but then we put all of these various filters in front of our natural light to prevent us from being love. And what the Healy does is it helps us to see those filters without actually knowing what they are ourselves. I mean, this is often why we go to, you know, a coach or something like that, because they help us to do our shadow work. They help us to look into what we can see, or what's obvious that we can't see, right? And the Healy just works on so many different levels. And, you know, they talk about Healy being the Trojan horse to spirituality, right? Because when you start talking about everything being frequency, everything being vibration, everything being energy, then all of a sudden we start talking about, well, what is the spirit of this? And, you know, when you talk to Joe Dispenza and people like that, and they speak to that physical illness is often this disconnection from spirit, this disconnection from our natural essence, which is healthy, right? And the way that the Healy works is in multiple ways. So I'll go through a couple of the different ways that it works. And I just want to bring up a slide. So the first way that the Healy works is through using the cables. I don't have them on at the moment because I am using the coil. But this is where you have the wrist straps and the cables, and that can go to some electrode pads that could be used anywhere localized on the body. And what this is doing is it's providing a negative ion. It's almost like when you go to the forest or you go to the ocean and something like that, and we talk about you go there to get the negative ions, right? And what that does is it provides what's called cell membrane potential. So here is a cell, and on that cell we have a positive on the outside and a negative on the inside. And as it's described in this chart, which is a bit hard to read from there, I get that, but basically the stronger this cell membrane potential, that voltage difference between the outside and the inside of the cell, the healthier the cell is. And the healthier the cell is, and it doesn't matter if it's a muscle or a nerve or a bone or blood cells, the healthier that cell is, the better it can operate, right? Just like anything, the healthier we are, the healthier your car is, the healthier the building is, the better that they work, right? And when the cell membrane voltage is increased, then the cell can operate. And this is helping it to come back to homeostasis, right? So then, for example, if you're needing some energy, then a healthy cell is going to provide your body with more energy than an unhealthy cell. Or if you have a wound, or there is something going on inside of your blood, and there are healthy cells moving around to respond to that, then it's going to help us come back into ease and health, right? And what's really quite incredible is that inside the Healy is something called a quantum sensor. Now, the quantum sensor is the term that Healy use. The technical mathematical engineering term is called a random noise generator. And what's really quite interesting is how, when something is random, it is very influenced by its environment. And this is really the essence of quantum mechanics, is that when all options are possible, the one that has the strongest natural bias is the one that's going to come up most often. Okay. And there is a lot of technology that comes into this, and I won't go into it, but it will create a way that when the Healy provides a certain frequency for you, that it will then analyze how is your body responding to that frequency. And then based on how your body responds to that frequency, it will then determine what frequency to provide next. And the Healy in its top model now uses over 10 million different frequencies. Okay. And all Healys, even the most basic gold version, has over 144,000 different frequencies that it uses. So there's a lot in there, and it's really based on what is your body needing? What resonance does your body show that it's requiring for the return to homeostasis? Did you want to say something, Linda?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a point that because Jason and I had, like, there was so little support, really, or infrastructure in the first year in terms of the back office, in terms of customer support and everything, because it was a startup, and, they were just overwhelmed by orders and everything, and they just weren't ready for the explosion that they had. So again, now that's all changed. But at the beginning, as a result, we were kind of all fumbling through and making videos ourselves to teach others and all of that. And I am a bit embarrassed to say, so I want to clarify what Jason's talking about, that I didn't realize. So in the pink app, with them, whether you're using the microcurrent or the coil with it, so when you're running those pink app programs, let's say I ran the skin program, one of the skin programs today, and let's say Brooke ran the skin program at the same time, they are not going to look the same. So I thought everybody got the same, however many frequencies in the skin program. Yeah, see, I can see Brooke's looking a bit surprised. Yeah, so I thought that so I'm really glad you're explaining this, Jason, because I never really knew, I never really heard this before in the beginning. So my program, so there are hundreds of possible frequencies in any one program, in the pink app microcurrent programs. And like Jason said, it's constantly doing a biofeedback thing. It's constantly touching base with you while it's running these programs and spitting out frequencies that it feels will bring you back into homeostasis. And it'll be like, okay, she's responded this way. Okay, then we'll give her this frequency next out of the hundreds to choose from in this particular program. Then we'll give her this one. So when I say that mine and Brooke's would look different, I mean that the types of frequencies, so the hertz, the frequencies, the order of the frequencies, and therefore the length of time. Mine might run, that's why it'll say approximately 52 minutes or approximately an hour, because it might end up being shorter or longer based on the biofeedback mechanism throughout that pink app program. So I just wanted to clarify that, because we're not even talking about the blue Analyze app yet. We're just talking about the pink program and the way that the quantum sensor, this biofeedback reading your energy field, works in the pink app as well. Right, Jason?
Yeah, that's 100% correct. And not only is it not going to be the same programs if Linda and Brooke run it, but the same if I run it now and then I run it tomorrow and then I run it the day after, because my stasis has changed. So what I'm needing will also change, right? So it is super individual and dynamic in the moment. It actually does an update every 10 seconds when you're running a program in the pink app, right? Which is then just running the program frequencies that are available. So it's very, very, very smart like that. And that is one of the things that makes the Healy unique, is this quantum sensor and the biofeedback system that's happening with Healy. So yeah, it's amazing. It really is amazing. And then
how is it getting the information?
through
Like
the
from
quantum sensor.
ourselves?
Yeah, through
But
our
like,
energetic.
oh, okay. So it's not
The
like it's
same, the
going
same.
back through the device. It's more of our
No,
energy.
Well,
yeah,
yes, but not through the cables. It's
Right.
getting it through the sensor, which then measures the energy within the field. Okay,
the part,
so
Cully, the part that does, the blue analyze app and does the scan.
Yeah.
It's that same part of the device. So the same way it
Okay.
reads your whole energy field, or even someone at a distance, that's how it's getting the feedback. Yeah.
Okay.
mm, right, yeah. And then the advantages of the using the cables is that you're getting these direct ions. Oh, sorry, Dawn, did you have a question? I just saw you unmute for a second.
Yeah, that beautiful graph that you had up, is that
Mm.
available to us in the back office?
Yeah, 100%. But I can share it into the group as well, so that if you're on that, you can see that. There is a more updated, even better version of that now with the voltages. But I'll share that. But yeah, let's keep going.
Thank you.
Yeah, and sorry, can I just really want to quickly say one other thing in that graph. I just want to point out that I always highlight to people, particularly with chronic fatigue, which has been a huge issue for me with Lyme disease, long haul COVID, but like for so many people, is that the ATP in the mitochondria, so the energy centers of our cells, the ATP is increased by 500 times by the Healy. And so that's on the graph too. And that's a point that I really highlight. And that's something that I've experienced, when I first got that virus. And but it's a cumulative effect of slowly rebuilding that. So it took a few months for my energy to, build up more and more. And for some people it's quicker and some people it's shorter. But that ATP in the mitochondria point is really important. And most people with chronic fatigue have at least heard of the word mitochondria and realize that they deplete and then their
Yeah.
mitochondria is not functioning properly. So yeah, I
Yeah,
really
so
like
let's just
that
speak
graph.
to that correctly. It's 500%, not 500 times.
Sorry.
So
Yes.
that's about 5 times. And there's a direct proportion between the cell membrane potential, like that voltage difference on the outer cell, and the cell membrane potential of the mitochondria itself. And that is like having a battery that's fully charged as opposed to a battery that has only got a little bit of charge left in it. It might still work, and the little battery operated robot might still walk a little bit, but give it a little bit of a slope and all of a sudden it just can't walk up the hill anymore. Whereas with a full brand new activated battery, it's just going to climb the hill no problems at all. As a little visual on that. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Linda, because it is important, and it also increases the ATP production, as we mentioned, but protein synthesis and amino acid transport. And this is really, the nuts and bolts of how our bodies are built moment to moment to moment. And, there are hundreds of thousands of cells being generated all the time in our body. We're literally rebuilding our body constantly. So yeah, and this is where using the cables is really vital in supporting our bioenergetic body. The coil is very easy, and it makes life and using the Healy much easier, but there are significant biomechanical benefits of using the cables. And if you are going to be using the cables, I recommend to use them in the morning. Okay. And also the recommendation is, and this is, everyone needs to, the company needs to provide a recommendation, and it's very personal. Okay. The company recommends to not use more than 3 programs using the cables per day. I strongly recommend that if you are going to be using the cables, to use them in the morning, because it will help to activate the body, and then you'll have that energy through the day. If you're using the cables in the evening, it can actually activate the body and make sleep difficult. And if you're
That
going to be
said,
using,
sorry, I just have to say my
yeah,
favorite program is the bed rest program with sleep. and I do use it with the microcurrent in bed. And for me, that is what is so amazing for sleep. I don't know about Kelly, which sleep program you and your sister were talking about, but
It's just relax. A
oh, the
gold relax
relax.
turns me
Awesome.
into like mush.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
good too. And it's the same with my partner. He also has insomnia. I strap it on to him. Boom, in 3 minutes, he's asleep. So I just will say some of them do calm the autonomic nervous system, like relax, like bed rest, that they're designed to do that. But there are some people that find it activating still, like Jason said. So thank you for making that point, because I just want to say that if some people it doesn't, that's a good point, that if it's not working for their sleep, then they might be someone that it's too activating for, and then you could suggest the coil instead. But yeah, I just wanted to make that
Or
point.
running the
That it's not
program
for
earlier. Coming to the coil, so the way that the coil works, this is the coil device, and it plugs into the Healy just on the back, so it actually slides in behind the clip like this. And as opposed to using the cables, these two terminals go into the back of the Healy, and basically what's happening is it's coming, the current is coming into one of these terminals and then spins into the spiral into the center, then turns around and spins back outwards again and comes out. And what that does is that creates a magnetic field in one direction when the current's running to the center, and it creates a magnetic field in the other direction when a coil is running outwards. And so you get these two magnetic fields that are kind of imploding on each other, and we get this magnetic potential. And what this does is it creates a medium that is very conducive to our body to receive the frequency. And it does have to be on the body, so it's quite a near field magnetic potential. And say, for example, you were running a kidney program, you could actually put the Healy with the coil close to that part of your body. The beautiful thing with that is that you have it like this. There are no cables, there's no wrist straps, there's no clips or anything like that. So I can very easily just run a program, put the Healy there, and I can wear it all day long. And when I'm out on the streets and I'm running my Healy, it's a beautiful promotion as well, because people are like, what is that? And I'm not walking around with cables, which can look a little bit, have I just come from the sick bed kind of thing. But it's a conversation starter for sure. And the coil that we use is called a bipolar coil, but this is lovingly referred to as a Tesla coil, because he used that technology of the coil a lot with his work, because he knew how beneficial it was for our body and our beings. So yeah, I strongly recommend, if you are looking at using the Healy more, to get a coil. There are specials on at the moment. If someone was to purchase a Resonance Plus or professional model, you will also actually get a coil along with some of the other elements. Yeah, Linda.
That's a free thing at the moment, which is amazing.
Yeah.
That promo. It's not always the case, but at the moment. No. But I just want to quickly add 2 points about the coil that I love. So one is that there isn't that limit of 3 programs a day that you have with the Peak Microcurrent app. Because again, with the microcurrent, it's a voltage going through your body. You can definitely overdo it. I've seen people do, way too many. They didn't listen to me at the beginning, and, they'll be shaking and heart pounding and headaches and like, why am I feeling like this? Oh, because I did like 6 programs or whatever in the day, So, and again, it is a recommendation. Everyone's different, but I really am quite like, I'm very sensitive, so I started with 2 a day. But what I like about the coil is that you can do extra programs. Like I wouldn't go crazy. I wouldn't do like 100 different, ones. It obviously can't fit that in a day, but you know what I mean. But you can do extra. You can do more. So it allows you to do more Pink App programs in a day. So I might now do my 3 microcurrent programs, and then if I feel like I still need something, I might do a couple with the coil. Or again, if I need to go out and about then I want to be hands-free, then I use that. The other thing is that they did a study and they showed that like the coil versus the microcurrent with using the pink app programs, and they were both significantly effective. The coil was just slightly less so than the microcurrent. And that is my personal experience as well, that the microcurrent for me is more powerful. But the coil is still very effective as well. So I personally, when I'm, if I'm at home, if I'm meditating, if I'm watching TV, if I'm sleeping, again, it doesn't activate me. So I can wear the cables, sorry, when I'm not moving around. And then, if I'm moving around more in the day, I might use the coil. And then like Jason said, it's a great, sort of unintentional advertisement, because people just go, what's that on your shirt? And then it just starts up a conversation. And like Jason said, it does, you can put it, or you're meant to put it on your body, and you can put it near, like I get bladder pain, for example, so I'll put it like if I'm lying down, or if I'm wearing pants, like clip to that area, whereas with the microcurrent, it doesn't matter where it is on your body. You can just clip it to your shirt. It doesn't even need to be clipped to you if you're lying down or whatever. So anyway, I just wanted to make those points, because it really is a valuable extra tool in its own right. And Marcus Schmieke, the creator, has talked about it as a bit of a bridge between the microcurrent in the pink app and the quantum sensor and the scalar-based frequencies in the blue analyzer app, which I think Jason's going to come to. So anyway, that's all. That's my piece.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and it is great that you can just run multiple programs, because I literally just run the Healy all day long now with the coil, without having the the side effects from running the cables is really generally around a toxin release. So it's the detox symptoms that can come up. So you might get headaches, you might get diarrhea, you might feel hypersensitive, things like that. And that has to do with the body going into detox. And that is why it's recommended to just do 3. But if your body is overly sensitive, then dial that back. If you're less sensitive, you can experiment with doing more, but just know that's kind of the global recommendation. But then, with the coil, there's also far less contraindications. So there are many things that are outlined with the cables, for example, because it's providing electrical current. If you have metal implants, for example, or a pacemaker and things like that, then it's not recommended to be using the Healy in those locations. But with the coil,
or seizures as well. I'll say
seizures. I mean, there's a whole range. Yeah. So, if you want to look into the contraindications, then you can do that. But I just wanted to touch on that there are less with the coil. All right, and then that's the pink app. And something that's really exciting is that the blue app, which is now really tapping into what's called the morphogenic field and quantum entanglement, where we are all connected. And you've all experienced this, I'm sure, where you think about a friend and then all of a sudden they call, or you see them around the corner, or you have a dream about someone and then the next day you meet them, or all of these things have to do with what's called quantum entanglement. And how the Healy in the blue app works is we can use the vibration, the energy of someone's information field to connect them with the Healy device. Once they're connected with the Healy device, then we can send frequencies to their information field. And the beauty of this is there's no requirement to wear the device, to be localized to the device. You can actually send the frequencies anywhere in the universe, and it happens instantaneously because of what's called the scalar field, which is that everything is everywhere, all connected immediately. right? And so it's very, very interesting, and it is astounding how well that works when you put in the information of someone and you add it into the Healy device, and then you run frequencies to someone on the other side of the planet, and they are expressing that they're, having digestion issues, something like that. And then you run a program around that, and then all of a sudden they start getting relief, and nothing has changed in their world other than you're sending frequencies towards them that are helping to bring their body back into homeostasis. They're helping you're sending frequencies to help their information field come into ease with this. Linda.
Yeah, I just wanted to say as well. So, I was in lockdown for a long time in Melbourne, probably the most locked down city in the world. And when I first got the Healy, and so I did about 50 odd distant scans before I could do them in person, Um, and they were just like around the world, and they were so accurate. They blew my mind. It still blows my mind after nearly 3 years, how it can be so accurate with me, with others. But yeah, just to say that if you are doing distant scans on people, because of what Jason just said, it is still so accurate. And I did do a video, if anyone wants it, just let me know, like a Zoom call in 2021 to explain like my method of how I make sure I'm kind of connecting in, and I'm sort of acting as a proxy for the person, or a conduit maybe more for the information. It's just my personal way, but it's a way that I found really worked, and over all these ones. Um, what then what Jason's saying is that then you can vibrate into their field, if they want, then the scan results, so the categories. So, and I personally didn't do that so much at the time, because I was nervous that people, if they, some people are more sensitive to energy than others. And with physical things, it can be, it can be subtle, and it's more like setting a strong intention to the universe, or giving your energy field a bit of a nudge with the Blue app when you do the treatment part of it. And so I was worried that people might be like, oh, I didn't feel anything, this thing doesn't work, and they wouldn't even get a chance to use the microcurrent and experience that. Very, okay, we're talking to Americans, so FDA approved for pain, chronic pain, like that. It's very scientific, it's all scientific, but it's quantum physics when you're talking about the Blue Analyze app. And studies will come out in the future, and there will be more hardcore science evidence, but some people are like, I want to know the scientific evidence and I want to feel it, and then all of that. So I would tend to do the scans on people, but people were so blown away by the scans, and I did them for free. Others charge money for them, and then that's whatever feels right to you. But I they were just like what, it picked up somebody's C virus, and she was just like, oh my god, I want to buy one. And that was it. Like, so often people are just so blown away by the accuracy, because I didn't even know them, or didn't know them well, didn't know their issues on Facebook around the world, and it's picking it up. And it obviously takes a degree of open-mindedness to to feel confident to do that with people. And once you do, and you see it, you end up wanting to do more and more scans. And then some people, if I felt they were very open-minded, or they asked me, can you vibrate them into my field, I would do it, and they tended to fall asleep. And I wouldn't hear back, like, because I wouldn't be on a Zoom call. I'd be chatting on Messenger and sending them their results, because you can send the PDFs to people of the results, which is really nice and professional, across the other side of the world. And then I'd be like, so what did you think about it? And they're just not there. And then the next day they're like, because they were in America or whatever, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It was so relaxing. I fell asleep. It happened again and again and again. And it wasn't just like, sometimes it was the middle of the day for them. Like, so it is very relaxing. And I've had people in Switzerland putting, like a woman, sorry, in America who puts her Swiss mum in Switzerland to sleep every night with her insomnia just from the Blue Analyze app. A Canadian homeopath who's put other Canadians in their homes to sleep with it. So she's not on the call at the moment, but so yeah, it is also very powerful. I just want to say that. But some people will be open-minded to that part, and some people will just want to focus more on the
But
others.
like, I actually wanted to do this to somebody tonight who is struggling with sleep. Do I need to put them, I need to put them in, do I need to get a picture of them and record their voice or something to get their vibration, or?
No. So there's different apps that are inside the Blue app, and depending on which program, some of them require a picture, which is then the aura. But if you're using the resonance aspect of it, you don't need a picture. But what you do want to do is you want to hold an intention of their energy, okay?
Yeah.
And then actually put the Healy in your left hand
Mm.
and then do a recording of their vibration. So you're being what they call a surrogate. So you actually tune into the energetic of that person and then hold it in your left hand and then do the record vibration. And then you also want to fill in as much of the information as you can, because the more information that you can
Yes.
provide it, then the stronger the connection that you're going to have within that morphogenic field, if that makes sense.
I do like to have a photo, and just to add to that, I will use my non-dominant hand, which is my left hand, like Jason said, to push the, fingerprint button. And then I will use my right hand, I'll point to the picture on it, and so I'm really setting the intention that it's about them. And I just want to say that the only two times out of like 50 odd that it was not accurate were when I had an acute symptom going on. So one time I was crying. I was literally crying and feeling really down right before, but I didn't want to reschedule the person. And again, I don't even know to speak to them. They were on Messenger in a private conversation, and it said the person was depressed, and they weren't, like, number one thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's picking up on me. Then another time I had a really severe head pain, pushed through anyway, and it said migraine, like, at the top, and the person didn't have migraines. So I was like, okay, that's my personal rule, that if I have something very acutely, I'm not talking about like I've got chronic stuff going on, but if I can't get to that kind of 0 point space where I can be like a surrogate, a conduit to that information or whatever, and get into that meditative state, I personally try not to do it if I'm having like a lot of pain or a lot of emotion in that moment, because it can pick up on your stuff then. But that was my experience. But I will send you the video, because it's just got like a few, I guess, other tips and tricks that I've done to refine it, so that I know that I'm like, I can feel when I'm tapping into people. But some people are less and more sensitive to energy than others, so you may not feel when you're tapping into them, but I get certain signs and stuff when I know that, okay, I'm tapped into their field. This is not about me anymore, so anyway. Anyone who wants that video, let me know.
Okay. And if it was sleep, for instance, would you tend to do a scan on all Healy programs, or would you specifically go to sleep or gold?
I like to do all Healy programs first as well. And then if sleep doesn't come up, you can definitely just do the sleep category 2. But it could be, say, for example, a hormonal issue affecting their sleep. And if you don't do all Healy programs, you'll miss that, So or it could be pain that's keeping them awake, or it could be just about their autonomic nervous system. It could be that they can fall asleep but they can't stay asleep. So yeah, I would do the all Healy programs, see if something interesting comes up, and if you see if sleep comes up. Again, if it's not nighttime when you do it, the scan, sleep might not come up, because it's about that moment in time, what they need in that moment in time. So you want to really do it at their nighttime if you want to do the sleep programs, because otherwise it's not really wanting to come up with sleep. They don't want to sleep in the middle of the day, hopefully, generally. So yeah, that's what I think there's no harm in doing an overarching scan to just see, like, are we missing anything here? Is there,
Yeah, and then maybe
missing?
vibrate a couple things.
Yeah, and you could exactly, you can then scan within, say, the top 2 categories, vibrate them into their field. There's no limit, like with the coil, there's no limit with how many categories you can vibrate into someone's field. But again, I wouldn't go bananas and like do hundreds, because it's like setting, again, an intention. And say you were at a cacao ceremony or something, and it was a full moon, and you're setting intentions, or however you set intentions, and you wouldn't do like, I don't know, you probably wouldn't do 10 or 20 different intentions. Like, you might focus on a few, because otherwise that you kind of, there's less potency, I suppose, if you're focusing on too many. So that's how I see the Blue Analyze app vibrate as well. So there's no harm in doing a few. And the time is really up to you, but Healy do recommend 2.47 minutes for the chronic issues, 3 to 4 times a day, and 37 seconds 6 to 8 times a day for the acute things. But you can experiment. I know other people that do a lot more than that. It depends how sensitive the person is as well. But I wouldn't do it for hours, because Helia said that hours is for buildings, not for people. But then I know some people that will do it for hours overnight and they love it. So again, it's very personal with that. But if you're not sure, then maybe err on the side of caution and start at a smaller amount. And if that doesn't work for them, you can do more. So like longer time periods. But yeah, I will definitely send that video. I have to find it, because it was from like a couple of years ago. But a lot of people were asking, how was I doing it? Because I had done so many of them. And so, yeah, it's just got, like, I'm sure there's different things that I'm forgetting in this moment, and I don't want to take up any more time. So I will send that through.
They have to be quite generalized in the responses.
Okay.
There's a couple of reasons for that. One of them is purely for compliance reasons, and also because of it's a vibrational thing, right? So the way that the Healy works is on probabilities. Okay, so when you're, for example, doing the all Healy programs, and it'll come up with a range of different frequencies. And that the first one is then the potential of it being relevant, okay? So, and this is based on probabilities. All quantum mechanics is probability, okay? There is nothing that is a certainty in the world at all when it comes to quantum mechanics. It's all probabilities, and a probability can be 99.999%. But generally the way that it works is, you might have something that it says skin programs at 72. And then, sleep programs at 56 or something like that, right? And so the way that I do it is, say, for example, it'll give you the top 5 potentials. And then if there is one that is clearly the strongest, one is in the 70s and the rest are in their 50s and 40s and things like that, then the 70 is really strongly, clearly the one that is resonating the most. But often you will get, top 2 or 3, they might be within 1 or 2% from each other. So then what I would do is I would actually go in and I would do another scan on those individual ones and see what came out within that. So for example, I would do the skin resonance scan and then see which program out of that was coming up the highest, because you might have, for example, the best way for me to kind of analyze it is you're walking into a library, right? And you're doing a scan of, okay, which book is the best book for me to read right now? And so then it'll give you a probability of the different books that are really good. And one book might have lots of general information that's really, really good for you. The whole book will be great. But then you might have another book where it's really just one chapter and the rest isn't actually as relevant, but that one chapter is super relevant for you right now. So when you're talking about the relevance of the book it may not be super high. It'll show up still as one of the top 2 or 3, but not like strongly high. So then when you do the individual scan on that book, it'll go, okay, most of this book is 30% relevant, but this one chapter is 70% relevant for you. Like that's the one to run. So, but it generally, it'll never say C words to you ever. Okay. It will use language that will help to describe a symptom that may be similar to something like that. Okay. And that has 100% to do with compliance, because there is no legal way that they're allowed to say something like that. And it's already, especially when you're talking about the aura scanning, and it's talking about the psychological analysis of what's happening, it can be very, very brutal. Okay.
Yeah.
And the language is, first of all, based from German, which is already in its vernacular very brutal. Like the Germans just like tell you
This
what
is
it
like
is.
with aura scan, Jason's talking about.
Yeah, I mentioned
With
that.
the aura scan,
So when you're doing that, then when you're reading those elements, then it's also translated from German into English, which then also can make it even more brutal. And sometimes you need to be a little aware of the language that is being used. Now, saying that, there is a brand new beta version of the Blue app that is out, and they're testing it right now. And I've got a beta version, and the language has been changed, and everything is moving much, much faster, and it's much easier and softer to receive.
Wonderful.
But it will not tell you exactly a situation when you're doing the resident scan, but it will tell you things that are relevant when it comes to the symptoms and the energetics of it.
And on that, can I just quickly say that, so yeah, technically it's not officially diagnostic, basically. That's what I tell people, you know, it's supposed to help you see what your program priorities are. But obviously you can infer certain things from it. Like if the thyroid keeps coming up, then you probably have an issue with your thyroid, and you might want to A, run that program, and B, get your thyroid checked, like get your bloods done, kind of thing. So or for example, so it's called bioenergetic support, bioenergetic boost. Under bioenergetic support category is the C, unofficial C program, just so you know. So again, when I said that it came up for someone, it didn't say the word, but that's what came up, number one. And she had,
that's what it was. Because you just knew that that's what it was.
Exactly. And then
without
I
having
just
to say it.
Yeah, and I just had it again, in February on the flight, and I, was really sick, and it kept coming up, and so I didn't even get the test. I was just like, I knew, but that was just my confirmation, and I was running that program. So it's not officially diagnostic if people ask that, but it obviously gives you very strong hints about what's going on with someone. But yeah, it's not that specific. So, as well, there's a bacteria program. So bacteria might come up.
Yeah.
But so sometimes, if they use that to treat, they don't need to necessarily know what the bacteria is. I know some people want to know. But yeah, so that's just the way I explain it, that it's not diagnostic. It's helping you work out your program priorities, but it definitely gives you clues as to what's going on. And not just physically, again, emotionally as well, if the mental balance stuff or chakras come up. And then with the aura scan, like Jason said, which I'm very excited to see how they've reworded it, because it is very blunt. And so that is why I actually usually did not do the aura scan at a distance with people I didn't know, because I didn't want to offend them, because it comes out so bad, it came out so bluntly, I mean, and it was true. Like, it was just like, you have a bad relationship with your dad, or, I don't know. It's just very, so, yeah. that's cool that
Cool.
they've redone it. And just for you guys who don't know, the pink app is a new app now too. So you should all be using the Healy 2 new pink app. The other one, the old one, is no longer supported. I know for you, Brooke, you're new, you use that anyway. But for any of you guys here or watching it, this replay, please use that. It's way easier, way less glitchy, and the other one is not supported, so it's even more glitchy now. So, you know, you don't have the whole circle going around the page thing anymore. It's literally a line going across, and it's a wave if it's conducting. If it's not conducting, like say the voltage isn't high enough and you need to put up the intensity more with the plus arrow, then it'll come up and say the frequency is not generating. That's it. It's just so easy, isn't it, Jason? Like, it's just so much more smoother process and less glitchy.
Yeah. And so just touched in with Brooke quickly. She's managed to unbox her Healy after a couple of months. How about Kelly's phone? So is that just Kelly? It's
Yeah, plural.
There's many of you. Kelly's they them.
Kelly's been in Healy for a while, right, Kelly?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've been kind of, you know, using it. I'll every once in a while fall off the wagon and not use it, and then have like a week of insomnia and remember that I haven't been using it. I sleeping. It's unbelievable.
That's exactly. I have exactly the same, by the way. Yeah, that's amazing.
And then my sister just got one because the same thing happened to her. She's been struggling, and so she's and I said, well, you know, why don't I just see if the Healy helps? And so she just was like, I can't believe it worked like that. And I want to try to do the business also. So I tried to encourage her to come on, but she needs to go to bed, she said.
That's okay. She can watch the replay though. You can definitely share the replay with her. Yeah.
And that's really trying to figure out the business, and I really want to kind of keep recommitting to do that because I'm in a field where I have tons of clients, and you know the market is there, and I just have to feel more confident with what I'm saying and even signing people up in that type of
Yeah. And at any point, just to say, Kelly, at any point, you know, if you do have someone interested or you want to, a lot of people, and this is for all of you, like will introduce me in like a 3-way chat or things like that to people, and I can help you. And in that way also you learn kind of how I explain things to them and help them to sign up and stuff as well. But I can help you answer their questions as well. So it's kind of like it's helping with that particular customer, but it's also like a training then as well. And it seems to work really well for some of my other American downlines, though, even despite the time difference, because, you know, we're just, you know, I get back to them as soon as I can. But yeah, I was going to ask Kelly, because I can't remember what kind of clients do you have. I've forgotten what kind.
I do like a form of body work, more of like the mechanical, like the biomechanical side of it. So I've already had a handful of clients in the past purchase a Healy, but then I've just stopped. So, and just even using it in sessions, I'd like to try to do that a little bit more.
Yes. And we can speak later if you want, like, you know, privately and stuff about, because I've got other body workers, other people that are using it with their clients. And so I can tell you a bit more about that. They're mostly here in Australia, but yeah, it does work, as you saw, really well for any practitioner, but I think particularly with body workers, you know, with pain and things like that, to put it on, and it just seems to magnify the results of what you're doing. And then, then they love it and they often want to buy it from you, like you saw. So yeah, but we can talk about that more, privately as well. So yeah, thanks so much for sharing. And I don't know if Dawn, you're there, but not on camera. I know Dawn's a coach as well. And hey, Dawn.
Hi, I
How are you?
wasn't really sure what the call was. I just happened to see the message and thought, well, I'll jump on and find out. I'm finishing up my work day. It's only 6 p.m. here where I'm at, but just gonna listen in. And
Thank you so
it's
much for
always in
coming.
the back of my mind how I could integrate this more as I'm slowly launching more of my own coaching versus the global company I work for. So it's just something I look forward to finding a way through to integrate. So
Awesome. And again,
use
if
it
you ever want to,
yeah, I
sorry.
use it every day. It's just when as I grow and I'm attracting clients and building my own brand, then it's something I will be sharing and using with them. So I'm just in
Awesome.
that first phase.
Yes.
Sure.
Well, again, like feel free anytime to chat with me if you want to brainstorm about how you can use it with clients. I will
Great.
just quickly say was amazing call about, it was called Beyond Coaching, which I've got to watch the replay, but I've heard amazing things. I think Jason, you watched it, and that was specifically for coaches and practitioners, healers, and yeah, and so I think that could be really beneficial. So I'll send the replay in the group.
That'd be great.
That.
Probably. I wasn't sure if this was that or that would be great.
No,
Yeah.
no. So yeah, so I'll send that. That was a much bigger call. And then also the coaching modules that are there now in the Healy. I don't know if you guys know about them. They're in the professional model, which I now have. Also, half of them are in the Resonance Plus, but you can purchase them separately. But I just wanted to flag that. And again, if we have time later, if you want to know about it, or I can explain like privately more about them. But they are amazing for coaches to use, and they scan and pick up limiting and subconscious beliefs of
Wow.
people very accurately, just like the Blue
Yeah.
app scan is
Yeah.
very accurate with the physical stuff and all the other stuff. It's just as accurate with the quantum sensor with these limiting beliefs. And then obviously you can use whatever modality that you're using to work on them, as well as vibrating them into the field of your patient like you would with any other Blue app thing.
Nice.
Even if
Amazing.
even if they're at a distance. Sorry,
Right.
I
Well,
froze.
I would love
Even if they're at a distance, you can do it. Yep.
definitely want to listen to that call. And I don't know what I even have at the time. It was the most expensive Healy that I could get. I got everything all in
The
one. And a lot of,
resonance, yeah.
yeah,
The resonance.
but with updates, I typically get those, but are you saying that is extra? The coach beyond coach is extra?
Yeah, so you can upgrade from the old resonance to the professional or the resonance plus.
Okay.
Basically the old resonance it's kind of like a bit of a blend between the new resonance and the resonance plus, but those that they're missing a few things we have with the old resonance, and then there's a few extra things. So the model's changed basically, which I can send to you guys again. For Brooke, obviously you're new, so you know that there was 4, and now they were different. The programs were distributed differently across them. So now there's 5, but the professional one is the top one, and I do have it now because even though I'm not coaching at the moment, like I was a provisional psychologist before I got unwell. And so that's something that obviously really fascinates me, limiting subconscious beliefs. And I just wanted it for myself. And then it's also got a bunch of other, like it's got a stem cell type set of programs on the professional, bioenergetic vitalization. It's got 6 categories of digital nutrition. So like instead of taking supplements, like I'm very sensitive orally to a lot of supplements, and so you can vibrate them or use a microcurrent and get all these different minerals, vitamins, etc. So there's 6 different categories for like brain and thyroid and like all, so it mixes for each of those. And then there's also an Ayurvedic set of programs, and then the coaching modules as well. I think, Jason, I don't know, I think I've covered all the extra ones. They're the ones additional to the resonance, to the old resonance. But sometimes there are upgrade sales.
Okay.
Sometimes there are upgrade sales as well. So look out for them. I'll always tell you guys. which means that sometimes it's just cheaper to jump from the resonance, say the old resonance or whatever you have now, the resonance plus for new people, to the next level. So otherwise it's, you know, it's the difference between the two. Or you can just purchase individually the coaching modules, which are in the back office.